I'm Amy.
I'm Wendell.
And I'm Patrick.
And
this is
Yes,
But Why?
Podcast.
I appreciate you being so amicable while you seem so uncomfortable.
Right?
Like, New Orleans, it's like worse indoors than it is outdoors a lot. Something about the buildings, like, it'll be like freezing cold inside when they're running hot in the summer.
Right? I always think that about like air conditioning and stuff because, you know, my husband ices out our house. Like I come home and I'm like, God, why is it so cold in here? I have like a sweater by the door. So it's like I come in, I take my purse off, I put my sweater on, I'm like Mr. Rogersing it up.
Yeah, and like that's kind of how my roommate is, where it's just like some days I wake up and I feel like I'm half dead because like, I'm not circulating well enough.
Am I dead?
I'm like shit. My body should be able to handle this better. But
Is this what being a ghost
so
is like?
cold. Yeah, like I'll wake up and just be like, oh no, this is what dying feels like. like I remember in like I'm a huge sissy when it comes to like drastic temperature change. But I remember the first time I ever went to Barton Springs in Austin, which is like a naturally fed pool, you know.
That's great.
And I remember one of the times, and my mom listens to this, but we're cool. I went tripping on mushrooms for my buddy's birthday. And it was one of those things where like that's a hard thing to execute because there's so many people around and you know you're kind of like wigging out and you don't know what you want to do. So like I remember like I was like, all right, I'm just gonna sunbathe for a while and try not to stare at people. And then it was like I got really hot, so we all agreed that we were gonna get in the pool. And I remember I jumped first, thinking like this is exactly what needs to happen right now. And I remember hitting that water and it being like 35 degrees or something. It was just so cold that like my fight or flight reflex hit. Because like I jumped in and then the way I got out was like a cat. Like if you throw a cat in the water. Like I was like scrambling in the most desperate way immediately. And like I got out and it was one of those things where I was like I was on the ground. Like I literally felt like my life was in danger for a second. I was like, that's what people that, you know, survived the Titanic went through. That's like, I was like, that was the closest I've ever been to death in my life.
I'm sorry, audience, that clearly are the people who were the survivors of the Titanic. Yeah. I'm not trying to downplay
no, do not want to belittle
severity
this.
of what you went through.
I don't feel like I'm out of bounds by saying that I experienced an equal amount of...
Your body didn't know the difference.
No. There was nothing okay about what was going on for a second. And like it was heightened by the fact that I was tripping on mushrooms. But like... Indeed. Yeah, considering like, don't ever, if you're going to go to Barton Springs... And for your first time, and you have no idea what that temperature change is, don't do it on mushrooms, because you'll never trust it again. It took me a year to go back to Barton Springs.
Oh no!
Like I was I had to build that confidence up, and I love it when I'm sober to that extent, you know, like. But that was a real hard thing. That was like one of those like marked me kind of moments where I was just like, fuck Barton Springs. Who would do that to themselves?
I wasn't on mushrooms. But I went tubing we've got tubing here in Louisiana, but it's like being in this big, warm, dirty body of water where it doesn't move very fast and you just drink beer and stuff. Yeah. We all had in San Marcos.
Yeah, Don's Fish Camp? Or...
I'm not sure exactly where, but it was like crystal clear, fast-moving, cool water, and it was beautiful. But at the end, there was a little... bit of a hairy turn that was forceful, and I fell off my tube and kind of fell into the water, and I felt like I was being pulled into something, and it was water that was about this deep, but I felt like I almost just drowned right now. Yeah. It was like really traumatic.
Well, like
it's so stupid to look at. Like if you were looking at it this side, it would just look like someone almost drowning in a puddle on the street or something. But yeah, your body freaks out.
Yeah, no, that was just, there was no common sense to it. It was just, like, all of a sudden I realized, like, whether or not I wanted to stay in the water, my body was not going to. Like, there was no amount of money that was going to keep me in there. And that was the whole thing, too, is the other two guys did not react like that at all. Like, they enjoyed it. And I was like, what are you doing? I don't want to do this anymore. Can we go home? Like the day was shot. That's how bad it fucked up my emotions that day. And
they're like, Wendell, this is fun.
Dude, like, they don't know, because they're also tripping, and they're just like, do we go to the hospital now? Like, what is the severity of this thing Wendell's going through? And I was just like,
how many ER nurses deal with that thing? They're like, all right, you're not dying.
Yeah.
Literally nothing's happening. You are on drugs. Are you on drugs? Yeah. Okay.
It's like getting hot, too high for the first time, you know, and you like call the cops and you just start, you like call your mom and apologize and tell her, you know, like every bad thing you ever did.
I didn't do that. I've never done that.
I haven't either, but I've seen people do that.
I had a friend in college while he was tripping. He and my group of friends, we all were tripping, and then he separated from us and went home. And then I had gone by that point too. So he called these two guys at their house and he said, I'm in jail, and hung up the phone. And they were freaking out, like, what do we do? How do we get to the jail? How do we bail him out? They ended up he called back, and it turned out he was in his bathtub, like, just convinced himself he was in some kind of psychic jail. Some kind of psychological jail. But it caused a huge trauma for all of them.
I mean, imagine for a moment anyone you know calling you right now and saying, I'm in jail, and hanging up. I'd be like, which jail?
And they were impaired as well.
Yeah.
Right.
See, that's the whole thing is like, then you're put in this position of like, well, I have to be sober now just to save my friend, because if he got arrested for tripping, then I'm just going to go in there and they're just going to walk me to the cell, you know? Like,
you got arrested for tripping. You're just wandering down. You're like, I can see stars. And you're like, get in the jail.
Yeah, get in the paddy wagon. You know, like, yeah.
I'm pretty sure every time I was worried about that kind of stuff, there's a little logical voice in the back of my mind that goes like, they have other things to worry about, not you.
Yeah.
You haven't murdered anyone or punched anyone. Nothing's broken on anyone's bodies. So no one cares what you're doing.
That's so emotionally healthy to have that. I know I have the just panic, red alert.
Yeah.
You know, it seems healthy. I appreciate you think it's healthy, and I called it logic. So, you know, I can see how that. However, in my mind, I'm like, no one cares about you. No one's gonna do anything to help you. So fucking deal with your shit. Like, so I'm not, you know, it's not that I'm healthy. It's that I think I'm so nothing that literally no event or transgression that I could do would cause anyone any issue. They'd be like, who cares? She robbed a bank, but it's Amy. We hate her.
Well, I appreciate your being able to contort the compliment about your mental health. That is your true kindred spirit.
Contort the compliment.
Yeah.
Isn't that I believe that's the Latin root word of comedian.
Yeah.
How that works out. God, that's so
I remember one time, the one time that I've ever had to interact with cops under the influence of drugs, and it was I was tripping with some friends out in the woods, and we were underage, and we had beer as well, and the cops.
I'm really sorry, Renee.
Yeah, no, she's heard this story because
Mom.
Because we're under 21, so like every time we got busted drinking out in the woods or whatever, it was on my land, so like technically they couldn't make us leave. They would just see the beer, make us pour it out, give us that whole I was young once thing, and then make us call our parents. So she knows exactly about this. But this time we were tripping in the woods, and I had this energy about me where it was like the cops showed up, and I was just too happy for it to like bother me. So like they showed up, and I was just, and they're like, and also having to pour the beer out didn't matter because we just had beer in case we wanted it. We were tripping, you know, like I maybe could nurse one beer the whole time. So like the cops show up, and I'm just like, oh boy, hey guys, sorry, we were being loud. Were we being loud? I'm so sorry. I own this land, and they didn't even ask me. I'm already pouring the beer out, like they didn't even say anything about it yet, because I know the whole process, the protocol of this interaction. So I'm just like, oh man, we just had a weekend, it's just and it's like. I was just super transparent about everything, and they were just like, high school kids are normally not this friendly when we bust their parties, and they just thought I was just this real gregarious kid, and they were just like, all right, man, all right, well, thanks for pouring out the beer, we were young once, bye,
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it gave me this weird, gregarious energy about me, where I was just like, hey, you guys got a job to do, I understand. Look, I know, we're just fucking around, this is not what you guys want to be doing right now. I understand. I appreciate you guys being cool about it. There goes the beer.
You're just able to empathize with them.
Yeah. We're just gonna stay though, because we set up tents, and you guys want a hot dog? We have hot dogs.
I feel like that's how you can get out of all legal issues, is if you well, not all legal issues, but I'm saying with a cop when he comes up, if you kind of understand where he's come from, where you're all when you were oh man, were we being loud? I'm so sorry. They're well, I mean, they get it. It's like when you see a parent talking to the kid, and the kid somehow immediately cops to it, and then the parent's well, okay. I don't know what to say now. I mean, learn your lesson. Oh, you did? Okay.
It's disarming.
Yeah. So
that was the whole thing. Is it happened so often because we would party out in the woods all the time, and it got to a point where it was always the same cops, and they're always hoping I'm not there because then they can kick the kids out, But if I'm there, it's my land. We all get to stay for the most part. So I learned that day that every interaction with cops is going to go a lot better if you're just on board with what they have to do. It's because most kids that age are either going to run, or they're going to be hostile or mad or whatever about the situation, or they're going to try to lie to you, and it's I just owned up to everything because I know what they're going to do. They're going to make me pour the beer out. They're going to make me call my mom. And, my mom knew I was down there, so it's whatever. As long as we weren't burning anything down or doing anything super violent, she was, she's kids will be kids, so.
What kind of wild antics you get into as a kid?
I was really good in high school, throughout high school, until my junior year when I started drinking a little bit. But my mom never, I had been so good previously, she just never suspected that I ever did anything bad. And one time I went to a slumber party at a friend's house,
quote unquote,
got drunk, and came home, and I was too hungover to do whatever I had planned with my mom that day. And I was just I'm sick. And she was oh, I'm so sorry, and was real nice to me about it. And I still feel guilty to this day. Because I just seemed too much of a goody two-shoes for her to suspect that I did anything wrong. And then in college, because I had been so kind of staid in high school, I really went pretty nuts. And, you're alone, and I was a theater major, and they always party.
They do.
Just stupidly, just with each other in dumb, strange ways, whippets at parties.
Yeah.
Hallucinogens and weird adventures and all that kind of stuff.
Where'd you go to college?
Illinois State University.
Oh, right. Are you from Illinois?
No, I'm from Baton Rouge, but my family, I grew up 5 minutes away from LSU. My dad used to teach there. My mom worked there. I went to lab school there. I just wanted to get out, and I didn't have good grades. And we didn't have any money, so I needed to pick a state school in Illinois because my older sister lived there, and I can move in with her and get in-state tuition.
Oh, great.
And so I just toured a bunch of Illinois state schools, and ISU had a really good theater department. It was the school where the Steppenwolf Theater Company, it was born out of people who went to ISU. Gary Sinise went there, Laurie Metcalf, a bunch of people. Gary Cole.
Interesting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I recognize the first two names, but that one I particularly enjoy.
You don't know Laurie Metcalf? She was Roseanne's, Jackie on Roseanne.
Gotcha. Okay. And
also had that really wild like monologue in the Horace and Pete show that came out.
Yeah.
The Louis